The roof project's still going on. They did kind of cover up some of the boards here. All of this has to come out. All of that has to come out. Anyways, intro for a video. There's more stuff in the walk-in closet. Anyways, the roofers are at lunch at the moment, so I have a brief opportunity to record something. By the way, all of this has to come out over there as well. Yeah, the roof's being replaced and there's lots of rot. Anyways, today, I haven't had a chance to be able to edit video because it's been so loud in here. I haven't been able to be in the house. I've got a bunch of footage from like the last month and last few weeks that I haven't used. I'm gonna edit that all together, finally use it in a video today. So first off, we're gonna be playing around with that speed trap thing that I mentioned in a live stream like 4 weeks ago. It's designed for power soccer chairs because they have to go exactly a certain speed. So there's like this laser light beam thing with a computer program that you install, and anyways, you can check the speed of your chairs. We're gonna play around with that. Then after that, I've got some footage from the day after I got back from the Idaho vacation. It was like 116 degrees outside, and there was some hot weather issues with the van, so we had to fix that. Well, you'll see what happened. I won't say I screwed up, but there were some mods that I made to the van that I had to unmod. And then finally, after that, we opened some mail, and yeah, get some new toys. Was that a spoiler? Anyways, I'm gonna get to editing this real quick. It's almost all done, and I've got probably about 20 minutes before they get back. Meh, whatever. Okay, so we're at some random place and we're setting up the speed trap. We've got one of the sensors down here and I'm running the wire down here. And there's Jacob, by the way. And we've got 50 feet measured out with the laser rangefinder, and we're gonna see how fast these chairs actually are. Wouldn't it be hilarious if this kit didn't actually come with 50 feet of wire? It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Yeah, for 100 feet, it's a $75 add-on, which I think 100 feet just maybe, I don't know if it increases the accuracy or what the point of 100 feet would be, but
it actually decreases the accuracy.
You would think so. All right, looks like we've got just enough. There we got our laser rangefinder, and that's the other thing, so plug this in there. And somehow, Ryan, you'll get a kick out of this. There's random pieces of tape on both sides of these. I have no idea what's underneath the tape. Woo! They almost go speeding off the side of the curb. Okay, I think, oh, that one's already on. I said 6 feet, but just enough to give us room here and so people don't trip over them. Which one does the computer plug into? Oh, computer plugs in at the other end.
Cool.
So you flick these on and then the little red lights will start blinking.
Oh, cool.
Which,
I can see.
yeah, something. I figure starting here is good. That way we can get all the way up to full speed. And then down there we can just come to a stop quickly. Because I don't know if that's enough speed down there for you to get all the way up to full speed. I know on my 6000Z it takes a good 30 feet to get all the way up. Yeah. So we can plug in this here sensor without getting grass in the USB port, preferably. That'll be the other interesting thing too, is I'd be curious to move these about 5 feet and see if it changes, how much it changes the speed measurement. Speed check, there we go. Okay, do me a favor and break that beam real quick. I just want to see if it, I think this is the starting end. Okay, cool. Then go all the way down to the other end and break it. So we've got our thing set up here. It's basically $12 worth of eBay components. I'm not gonna hate on this company. It's expensive, but government grants and all. So I'm gonna go down here, start, oh, there's echo. Hello? Weird. I'm gonna go down here, get up to full speed, and then we'll see what happens. And Jacob, you can, if you just sit over here maybe behind me, it's a perfect spot, and we'll see what happens. I always said 6.5, but I feel like it's 6.1 or 6.2, so let's see here.
.53.
6.53. Okay, so it is actually 6.5. Cool. Reflective screen. There we go. All right, whenever you're ready. All right. 4 seconds flat, which was 8.52. Too bad it's annoying to load chairs into the van. I would have liked to bring the soccer chair out here and also the bounder, because yours is slightly faster than my bounder.
Yeah.
And even more so now that I changed out the tires. So yeah, seems to work. You can do another run?
Sure. Hilarious.
It's like, okay, we've got it set up, now what? .05, 8.41 miles an hour. So slightly slower.
Interesting.
I don't know why, but like, I always thought Permobile was 6.5, but then for some reason everyone was like, no, it's 6.2 or 6.3 or something. Just my battery's down 2 bars. Oh, stupid Windows. 6.51, 5.23 seconds.
But the funny thing is that it's as fast as we thought we were going before we ever measured ourselves, almost to the point.
Yeah, our speeds are exactly what we thought they would be.
Yeah, like I thought I'd be going 8.5 at least. And then he thought he'd be going 6.5.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's kind of disgusting that we're spot on.
I know, right?
But it's like, is this thing correct? Well,
Yeah.
I think so, because both of our theories were spot on.
Yeah, exactly. Let me, I'm gonna double check our measurement here again. So we're a bit short. That says, oh wait. Yeah, so we were a little bit off there. There's 50 and a half. 50 and an eighth. Oh yeah, I guess the piece of paper is a little bit wavy, so that's probably why 1/10 of an inch. Okay, so there's 50 and a half. So that's, okay, cool. So that should be good. Just for no reason, let's run these again. We're just running these again just to make sure we weren't too far off or whatever. Oh, hang on. We might have a Windows thing. Let me unplug and replug it. Windows went to sleep and it disabled the USB ports and didn't reconnect. Take 4. .54 miles an hour, 3.99 seconds.
That's fast.
Yeah, so it was a 100th of a second off for the few inches that we were not quite straight or whatever. Okay, 6.47. All right. Because it being just slightly over 6.5 was confusing to me. Yeah, 6.47 miles an hour. All right, cool. Well, there you go.
Spot on.
Data, I guess. That's what I was saying. I'm pretty sure this is one of those cool things. We'll get it set up and then use it once and then be like, okay, now what? You know? You can only do so many experiments with it.
I mean, it's got to be a downhill test next or something.
Yeah. It's the next day. We are back in Portland. I learned something about hot weather driving with this van. Turns out these 2-valve 5.4s, the intake air temperature sensor, when it detects more than 140 degrees, retards the timing like an insane amount. And I did a modification to this thing after I got the van, basically drilling the airbox full of holes so that we could get more airflow in. we're going to pop the hood right now. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, and then we're going to temporarily fix it with this Nashua foil tape. This stuff is good for high temperatures, low temperatures, all that stuff. Normally, Portland, we don't see above 100 degrees for more than a couple of days. Well, yesterday when I got back, it was 115, and it's supposed to be hotter today. So we need to fix this. What's happening is, well, actually here, I'll just show you. All right, so normally the way this system works, you've got your air intake right here, and it pulls the air kind of from down in here in the fender area and these gaps in the hood, so you get cold air going in. What I did was drill a bunch of holes in this air box. So if we take this off, try not to lose the air filter. Ta-da, Swiss cheese. The reason I did that was because if you look down in here, that's a very small hole for air to go through, especially for a 329 V8. So I drilled this full of holes to basically allow more air in. But the problem is, it's pulling air from down here, which is now superheated because I'm running the AC and it's stupid hot outside. There's a intake air temperature sensor right, it's kind of right back there. But since we're pulling air from behind the radiator and the AC condenser and the transmission cooler, it's getting above 140 degrees and retarding the timing unnecessarily. So we're going to fix this with this tape here. And then in theory, we should be a little bit better. I need to kind of redesign this whole thing. I think they make kits for this. Normally, like a K&N cold air intake is just going to put your filter somewhere down here and it's going to pull hot air in. But I think I can get one of the cold air intakes and modify it. Basically, all I need to do is make this part of the tubing and probably this a little bit bigger and still get it to pull air from the fender area. Anyways, I'm going to get started on this and I'll show you the finished product. So the plan here is to basically put some of this over to cover up the holes just to kind of build up some thickness here, because the engine's going to be pulling a lot of vacuum through this stock piping and I don't want it to rip this tape. So I'm going to put a few layers of this on. If you listen to it, hear it sounds metallic. This is really, really good tape. So I'm going to put a few layers on here and then I'm going to wrap the entire thing as well to give it some heat shielding from the engine around it. And also it'll kind of build this up and give it some rigidity. But yeah, basically we're just putting this on here like so. And I'm going to cover up all these holes. And as you can see here, you know, in theory, the vacuum could pull holes through this tape. But I think wrapping this whole thing, because it is black plastic, is also going to help us. And I'm also going to wrap this thing as well. And I think that should take care of our problem. Okay, so we got the air box done. I've got several layers of that stuff on there, so I think that should help us. One thing I didn't mention as well, even without those speed holes that I drilled, the technical service bulletin on this basically said that because it's thick black plastic, it was picking up a lot of heat, even as it came through the engine bay here. So my options are to either do this or to pay Ford $250 to reprogram the PCM to take care of this issue. But Superchips makes programs for these things that will also take care of that. They're about the same price, and it also gives you some options to do different things, get a little bit more power and efficiency, set up several different modes and things like that. So I would much rather buy a Superchip setup than pay Ford to reflash a stock ECM. Regardless, I'm going to be looking for a different one of these tubes and a different airbox setup. But for now, I think this will get the job done. I'm going to wrap this and then we'll call it a day. And there we go. We've got it all wrapped up now. Just for completeness of this thought process, what I'm going to do is once I get back to the house, I will grab the code scanner and we're going to look at the data stream. And what I can do is pull off this section here, close the hood, and we'll see what the intake air temperatures are. Then we can put this back on, test it again, and be able to see the difference. Yeah, but I think definitely is going to hurt anything. It will definitely help, especially since we've covered up those holes now. So yeah, let's get underway here and see what happens. So much heat. Also now I'm covered in bits of tape backing. Okay, I gotta clean this up. Okay, so I'm already noticing a difference. We actually have power now. This thing was a complete dog when that timing retarded. Also, it's really bad for the engine and it runs everything super hot. All right, we've got our code scanner hooked up here, so let's go ahead and pull up our data stream. And I'm pretty sure we should have, okay, coolant temps 109. Have not started the van today. It is approximately 85 degrees outside. I'm pretty sure we can see our intake air temp. Yeah, there we go, 100 degrees. So let's go ahead and fire this thing up, and then we're gonna fire up the AC. Right now, everything's still hooked up, the hood's closed, and we're gonna get a baseline reading here. I'm gonna let it get good and warm with the AC running, and then we will see what this gets up to. Okay, AC on. Turn on front and rear AC. See, our temperature went down just a little bit. That makes sense. But as our coolant warms up and the engine warms up, that number is going to rise steadily. I'm going to leave this for idling for probably 10 minutes or so, and then I'll be back. Okay, we've been running here for about 10-15 minutes, and if you notice, we're at the magical 141 degrees Fahrenheit. So right now the hood's closed and the pipe that connects the air intake to the fender has been removed. So I'm going to open the hood, I'm going to put that back on, and then we'll keep an eye on this number. I apologize for the chime. I will try and mute the audio. Okay, it's been reconnected now, and what do you know? Look at that. It's starting to drop. Let me, I'm gonna hit the gas just a little bit here and raise the RPM. Yeah, and there we go. We've already got a 10 degree reduction, and I have a feeling if we sit here for a few more minutes, that is going to continue to go down. Crazy how that works. Now we are sitting here in the driveway as opposed to driving down the road, and with that tube hooked up, the lower intake tube, it does force air from the grill area in front of the radiator. So sitting here stationary, it may not get as cold as it normally would. But there is one other thing I'd like to point out. It retards the timing when the air intake temperature gets too high, about 140 degrees. Ford reprogrammed that later on. They never submitted a recall, but it's something you could go in and pay them to do. The reason it's not really that big of a deal, well, one, there isn't a whole lot of these vans in super hot climates where it's an issue. And if it is, it's only for a few days a year. So obviously they're trying to save money and not submitting recalls and all that stuff. So they just put out a technical service bulletin and you can go in and pay to have it done. But this engine also has a knock sensor. So retarding the timing based on the air intake is not really necessary. It's kind of like they're being a little bit too proactive. Obviously, if the intake air temperature gets too hot, you could have issues with detonation and pinging, but that's what the knock sensor is for. It can immediately take care of that before there's any engine damage. So setting it at 140 seemed kind of low. It's one of those things, but this fan's from 2002, but it's one of those things that, see, we're down to 125 now, just sitting here stationary. But it's one of those things that they were just a little bit ambitious with it. So anyways, there you go. Stock tubing attached. I don't know how much of this is because of that aluminum foil wrap I put on there. We'll say it's negligible, but pulling air from a hot engine bay, especially in a van, and especially a wheelchair van that has an extended firewall. I mean, we've extended the firewall down a good 12 inches here, and that blocks airflow as well. But anyways, there you go. Problem solved. The holes in that airbox are still a little bit small. We could do better with a higher flow rate with some bigger holes and whatnot, bigger air passageways. So I'm going to look into getting another intake kit for this thing. But for now, at least we're good in the hot weather. Did I mention it was hot in Portland? All right, we have a couple of boxes to open. One of them is large. We'll start with the small one. Let's see, where did this come from? Looks like somewhere on the East Coast. The address actually wore off of it. So, yeah, we'll see what's in here. What do we got here? Oh, wait a minute. Is this, I think this is from the Angry Quad. Is it? I think it might be from the Angry Quad. Because because as I spill everything, it's Comfort Teas. And he was recently sponsored by these guys. I think he said he was going to send something. Cool, we'll have to try this out. I'm not the biggest tea drinker in the world, but, well, and right now it is, oh, it's 116 degrees. So hot tea, we'll have to put that on the shelf for later. I think there's a shirt in here. Aha! It's another Angry Quad shirt. Excellent. This one seems to be a little bit bigger than the last one I got. XL, perfect. Yeah, the one I got before, I think maybe it was a large or it was a different brand or something, but yeah, it was a little bit tight fitting. Awesome, thank you, Sean. Now, for the large box, it's this thing right here. The person that sent this said if it got lost in shipping, there's no way to replace it. So, let's see. It's about 30 pounds. It's kind of funny when the, actually here, I'm gonna slice this open, then we'll just do it on the floor. When it got delivered, the people at the mailbox place, I think it was on Saturday or Friday they called me. I was at the campground. And they're like, hey, there's a large box here. Could you come get it right away? And it's also really heavy. And I was like, well, if I wasn't in Idaho, I would. I said, I'll be back in town Sunday. I can get it Monday because you're closed on Sundays. And the guy on the phone was like, okay, and then hung up. So anyways, we'll see what we got here. Man, I'll tell you, that heat in Idaho, my legs got super swollen. I saw another quadriplegic guy, he was in a manual chair inside the Silverwood Park. And it looked like he had the same thing going, his legs were huge. All right, so we've got a lot of packing material here. We'll just clean this up later. Oh, no way, is this what I think it is? I recognize this handle. I think this is some sort of oscilloscope or test equipment. Now let's see here. If it's like I remember, the top should come off. Oh man, I hope this survives shipping. Let's unfurl its pantalones here. Yep, we got a bunch of BNC connectors, power cord, some clip leads. Oh yeah, some probes. I think this is an oscilloscope. Yes! I think I vaguely remember talking about this. I can't remember. Check out this bad boy. So, it's an old, let me tilt my chair back so I don't fall over here. This is an old Hitachi unit with a CRT display. Oh, this is going to be great for the electronics lab, aka the workbench. I hope this thing works and or it survived shipping. Okay, cool. So this is perfect timing. Someone just gave me an old cathode ray tube television and I was wanting to use it to do visual representations of sound. So this thing would actually help me building that circuitry. Cool. I'm going to send the person an email that sent me this and verify that it was working when they sent it. And then I'm gonna pop the cover and check a couple things before I hook it up to power. Because a lot of times this old test equipment, especially after it's been transported, things can get funky inside. So if you take it apart and double check stuff, make sure nothing's broken loose off the board and there's no swelled caps or anything like that, you can usually mitigate any potential damage that would happen when you plug it in if you fix it first. So yeah, we got a whole bunch of probes and stuff. Sweet. Okay, so it's 100 megahertz scope for those of you following along at home, as Dave always says, a V1050F. Sweet. All right, cool. I'm gonna set this over here, clean up this giant mess I just made, and then probably do nothing because it's hot. Oh, and thank you for the oscilloscope. It's awesome. I've been eyeballing these things at recyclers for the last few years, but I haven't pulled the trigger yet. So this will definitely go to use. Good use. Well, I can't promise it won't be used for evil, but I'll try. There's just so many interesting things with this house. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed. Quick update on the roofing thing. I know I've touched on, hang on a second. I know I've touched on some of this in the live streams and some other stuff and whatnot, but as it turns out, the way this house was constructed, there's shingles, there's insulation crud board, and then that is nailed off directly to these ceiling boards. These are 2x6 tongue and groove. So when they built this place, they had to install the ceiling before the roof, which makes the roof oddly structural. But what's weird, the beams are 8 foot on center, except in some places where it's closer to 12 feet. See how that's bowing right there? They're not replacing all the tongue and groove, they're only replacing the parts that are rotten. Like right here, for example. I know I've showed this before, but yeah, you can see there's clearly damage. Right now it's Saturday. Workers have gone home for the day. The roofing material itself is not going to be delivered until Wednesday or Thursday of next week. I don't know if it's a supply chain issue, but what I heard was somebody wanted a very specific kind of shingles that are not as common or readily available. I could make a comment about trying to save 37 cents, but anyways, it's been a bit challenging, but you know, at least I have a place to stay. The AC does work. We've been running like mid to high 80s outside. I guess it's like 82 out there right now. Anyways, it's going to be another week of this. We're going to be having a discussion about rent abatement because, yeah, reasons. Anyways, unfortunately, I'm used to insane situations like this. And, well, I'm not going to go into it, but I do a lot of contract work with all sorts of different fields. And a result of some of this roofing job, and also the past 4 months and the insanity here, kind of lost a contract that was about 60% of my income. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that. Like someone that's much wiser than me said, and you may be watching, when a door closes, a window opens, or something to that effect. Things usually seem to work out for me, so I'm just going to be patient. And, you know, maybe it's good that, you know, I'm being forced to move on. I do know, though, that I shall not be staying in this place long term. I knew that moving in here, but I think at this point it's a good excuse to get rid of a bunch of stuff I have, streamline things. Like I've been talking about constantly, I've been shopping for buses. They're super cheap right now compared to what they normally are. There's a lot of inventory out there. Anyways, we're gonna move on, press forward, all that good stuff. And I'm just gonna keep doing what I do, whatever that is. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in a few days. Thanks for watching. Insert YouTuber statement here. Everything's leaking right in here, and obviously all these boards are rotting out as a result of that, but pretty much everything here is soaked.